Hey everyone. Today we're going to unravel one of the biggest mysteries of the Nintendo 64 era, dispel a lot of the misinformation out there about it, and hopefully satisfy a curiosity that you may have forgotten that you had. The game in question was Banjo-Kazooie, released for the Nintendo 64 in 1998. It was developed by Rare, and for me it represents a time before Rare made party games and knew how to create deep and meaningful gaming experiences. If you played through Banjo-Kazooie rather thoroughly, you may have noticed that there were certain areas of the game that are inaccessible. Now this is fairly normal for platform games at the time. Well, it's actually quite common in games, even today, to have areas that are merely decorative and cannot be reached through normal means. This wouldn't be worth mentioning, except a mysterious item is visible in one of those locations. In the level Freeze Easy Peak, there's a walrus named Woza who hangs out outside of a small cavern. If you approach him, he'll run inside, and you'll not be able to follow him. What you're supposed to do is have the game's shaman character, Mumbo, turn Banjo into a walrus. You'll then be able to talk to Woza, who will give you one of the game's jiggies, the all-important MacGuffin that you're spending your time collecting. If you enter Woza's cave after this, you'll be able to explore it, and you'll need to do this to find one of the Jinjos of the level, as well as one of the honeycomb pieces, which is well hidden. However, intrepid players may notice another hidden area that is blocked off by a wall of ice. Now, at this point in the game, Banjo and Kazooie do not have the ability to get past the barrier, so you may assume that it is something that you might need to come back to once you gain more abilities. However, this never happens. The ice barrier is completely impenetrable using any ordinary means found in the game, so it's easy to forget about. However, if you're anything like me, you exhausted every possibility to see if you can get past the barrier, and that includes to taking a peek at what's beyond it to see if it's even worth it. If you get up right next to the barrier and go into first-person mode, you'll be able to see through the transparent ice, and what you see is a passageway that leads to a chamber in the cave with a giant key made out of ice rotating atop a raised area. What this key does is a total mystery, as there's nothing in the game to indicate the use of an ice key, such as, an ice lock or something. If you manage to beat the game after collecting every single Jiggy in the game's ending will be slightly expanded, and it will show 3 areas of the game that are inaccessible, including the Ice Key Cavern. It shows Banjo going through the barrier there, as well as 2 other areas that contain secret eggs. This is shown to you by Bottles, who claims that the mysterious items had something to do with the game's upcoming sequel, Banjo-Tooie. So it seemed that something in the game's sequel would allow you to somehow access these items, but no hints were given towards their purpose. Of course, some people were not so willing to wait for the game's sequel to get these items. Alan Pierce and Mitchell Kleiman, who went by the names Ice Mario and Subdrag, were the creators of the Banjo-Kazooie fan site Rare Witch Project. They managed to hack into the game to find out exactly what was up with these items, and if they had a purpose. What they found was surprising. Like many cheats in the game, there exist sentences that Banjo and Kazooie can pound out in the sandcastle area to unlock the areas with these items. But rather than there being just the ice key and 2 eggs, they found 4 additional eggs in other areas of the game. This means that you don't need to hack into the game or even use a Game Shark to access them, but merely input the cheats. Once you get these items, they'll be permanently added to your inventory, found on a menu called Stop and Swop. And since we got time, I'll tell you how to get them. To get the cyan-colored egg, input the sentence, "Cheat. Don't you go and tell her about the secret in her cellar," and then head off to Mad Monster Mansion. In the cellar are some barrels. One of them is marked 1881, which is something of a reference to the old Rare game Attic Attack. You'll find the egg inside the barrel. To get the pink-colored egg, input "Cheat. Out of the sea it rises to reveal more secret prizes." Head to the Treasure Trove Cove, and you'll find a new cave out in the water area that leads to the egg. For the blue egg, put in "Cheat. A desert door opens wide. Ancient secrets wait inside," and head to Gobi's Valley. You might know exactly where, as this was shown in the special ending. It's that unopenable door where Gobi was hanging out previously. Go inside and you'll find the egg inside a sarcophagus. For the green egg, input "Cheat. Amidst the haunted gloom, a secret in the bathroom," and then head off to Mad Monster Mansion. You'll find the egg in the bathroom on top of the toilet. Hope you weren't planning on eating that egg. The red egg necessitates the cheat code "Cheat. This secret you'll be grabbing in the captain's cabin." head to the Rusty Bucket Bay and get in the captain's quarters of the boat. You do this by breaking the windows from the outside. You'll find the red egg in there. For the final egg, the yellow one, use the code CHEAT. Now Banjo will be able to see it on Nabnut's table. And head to Click Clock Wood. Go through the winter door and get into the squirrel's house by going through the window. The egg will be in there. For the ice key, use the code CHEAT. Now you can see a nice ice key which you can have for free. The ice barrier will be gone, allowing you to get the key. So what do these items do? Absolutely nothing. Remember, they were supposed to have something to do with the sequel. It just so happens that people found a way to get them first. Rare said that the sequel, Banjo-Tooie, would give you a way to get these items, and that these items in Banjo-Kazooie will unlock secrets in Banjo-Tooie. So, essentially, you'd have to play the second game, and find a way in the second game to access these items in the first game. Most likely the second game would give you the cheat codes already programmed into the first game to get these items, which would somehow unlock things in the second game. In the few years leading up to the release of Banjo-Tooie, Rare was extremely coy about the method that they were using, leading to a lot of speculation. One of the prevailing theories was that to transfer data between the games, Banjo-Tooie would use some sort of lock-on technology, similar to the Sega Genesis game Sonic & Knuckles, which the card had a slot to allow another cartridge to be attached to it. However, this was to remain a mystery, as upon the release of Banjo-Tooie, no new revelations were given in how to access these items, and the entire concept seemed abandoned. As a matter of fact, the ice key and 3 of the eggs were available to find in Banjo-Tooie without any assistance from the first game. And since we're here, I'll tell you how to do that. For the ice key, head to the Jinjo village and go to the Sandy area. There's a cave that you can get to once you've learned the Grip Grab ability. You'll find what appears to be Banjo-Kazooie cartridge there, which you can break open to get the ice key. If you take the key to Glitter Gulch Mine, once you have the Talon Torpedo ability, you could use it on the Kazooie boulder in the water, and a tunnel will open up. Go through there, and you'll wind up on the ice side of Hailfire Peaks, where there's a huge safe made out of ice. You can open it with the key, which has the Mega Globo inside. Bring this little fucker to Humbawumba in Pine Grove, and you can have Kazooie transform into a dragon. For the pink egg, just head to Spiral Mountain and look for it sitting out in the open in front of the mountain behind a metal gate. You can bring it to Heggy, who will hatch the egg, and you'll get the Breegull Bash move. For the blue egg, it's also in Spiral Mountain, behind the waterfall. Bring it to Heggy to hatch, and you'll get the Homing Eggs ability. The yellow egg you'll find right in Heggy's egg shed, which you'll have to have Kazooie hatch this by using the hatch ability. This will give you the ability to play as a Jinjo in multiplayer. So it's pretty obvious that whatever the original plan was, Rare had abandoned it. But that doesn't stop many people from wondering exactly what the original plan was, especially since Rare seemed to want to go out of their way to taunt players with the mystery at every opportunity. Nintendo was no help whatsoever, saying simply that the features were not implemented, and although they were aware that there are cheat codes that open up the stop and swap menu, the items in Banjo-Kazooie actually do nothing, and that they didn't know why it was not implemented. In 2003, Rare released Grabbed by the Ghoulies, which contained a reference to this on one of the chalkboards which said, "Collect ice key, collect 4 eggs, open secret level." However, no secret level has ever been found in Banjo-Kazooie's ROM, and this is merely an obvious attempt to taunt players. In the game Banjo Pilot, there's another reference. If you beat the game, Cheeto will have a new item available called Stop and Swap for 999 Cheeto pages. If you manage to buy this, Cheeto will taunt you by saying, "So you want to know about Stop and Swap, eh? I hope you're ready, here goes. Why don't you stop annoying me and swap this game for a nice book or something?" So what happened? There are a lot of rumors. One rumor that was even printed in EGM stated that the Stop and Swap feature would involve hot swapping, the practice of removing a game cartridge from the console with the power still on, and very quickly replacing it with another cartridge. This is done mostly for recreational purposes, as it can have odd effects on games that interest a certain type of people. EGM stated that as hot swapping is dangerous to both the game system and the cartridges, Nintendo were the ones to put a stop to it. However, this was just not true. It's so obvious that Nintendo would not allow a practice like this to be put into a licensed game by a second-party developer that Rare had to have known this. But the truth actually isn't so far off. In 2004, the truth was revealed. but in a low-key and obscure manner, and it seems that most people are unaware of it, which is where I come in. On November 16, 2004, the United States government made public a patent which had been filed on June 29, 1999 by Rare. This is patent number 6820265, which was detailing a process of sharing information between separately executable programs. You could read through it and your head will probably explode from the technobabble, so allow me to give it to you in layman's terms. The Nintendo 64 had a specific type of memory called RDRAM, or aka Direct Rambus DRAM. The idea is that Banjo-Tooie would give you the cheat codes necessary to give you the items in Banjo-Kazooie, and then after you added them to your inventory, you would turn the system off and the data would be stored in the console's memory for a total of 10 seconds, allowing you time to quickly remove the cartridge, put in Banjo-Tooie, and power the console back on. This, in its basic premise, is not all that different from hot swapping, except that due to the fact that the game console is turned off, it's not a danger to the console or games. So why wasn't this implemented? Because it would only work in early Nintendo 64 models. In 1999, the Nintendo 64 went through some internal changes. Nothing that would affect you playing games, but it would affect the stop and swap, as the window of opportunity was narrowed from 10 seconds down to 1 second. Now, it doesn't matter how fast you are, you're not going to turn the Nintendo 64 off, switch cartridges, and turn it on in less than a second. And while it's true that many people would be able to use the feature, many would not, making it impractical. So it was dropped, and Banjo-Tooie was changed so that all of the abilities and items that would have been unlockable through the stop and swap would be unlocked through other means. However, if you want to experience the stop and swap as it was originally intended, this is now possible through the wonders of Xbox Live Arcade. Both Banjo-Kazooie and Banjo-Tooie are available on Xbox Live Arcade, and the stop and swap items are found in the games, and items collected in Banjo-Kazooie would carry over to your save in Banjo-Tooie, and Banjo-Tooie had additional stop and swap items available. So what was the purpose of these items in the Xbox Live Arcade version? They unlock trinkets in the third game, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Yeah, I guess that's really not all that worth it. Oh well. Well, so that's it for Banjo-Kazooie and the Stop and Swap. Hope you found this educational. Join me next week and we'll talk about those Bugs Bunny games that have led to so many problems.